What is up, everyone? My name is Jonathan. Thank you for joining me for another Adobe Illustrator tutorial. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. Make sure to click the like button and make sure to subscribe if you want more content like this video. Everything about me is in the description below, so make sure to give me a follow on Instagram or Twitter. If you want to be notified, make sure to subscribe. Let's get started.
Once you have Adobe Illustrator open the size document you want. Today I'm working with a 1920 by 1080 document. If you want to open a new document, hit Control N on your keyboard and this window will pop up and pick the dimensions that you want. This is the dimensions that I usually work with for whatever reason. So we're going to grab our ellipse tool right here. You can hit L on your keyboard. It may be hidden behind the rectangle tool. So grab your ellipse tool. You can hear the forced air furnace running. Sorry, it's cold outside. You can only do so much. So we're going to create a circle 750. Whoops. If you lock these ratios, you only have to change one number, 750 by 750. We're going to center this up on the artboard. Click again, and then we're going to make another one that's 500. Hit V on your keyboard, that way it will pull up your selection tool, select both those objects, center these up, hitting the horizontal align and the vertical align buttons up here on the top. Select both of these objects, go over to your Pathfinder tool panel. It may be over here. If it's not, go up to your window, drop down, go down to Pathfinder. So you have both of these objects selected. Click minus front. That will minus the front. I know. Now go over here to your rectangle tool and just draw out a good sized rectangle. We're going to use this to delete the piece over here. So grab your selection tool again, hit Control C, Control V, because we want to have two of these copies. Holding Shift, lock this into a 45-degree angle, and then we're going to go over about here or so and place it there. Select both of these objects, hit Shift M on your keyboard. Again, that was Shift M. That pulls up your art or your shape builder tool. I love this thing. If you're not familiar with the shape builder tool, it is amazing. It will change your life. Holding Alt, click and drag through the shapes and then let go. And now you have this shape. Now we have this shape still left over. So now we're going to bring it over and place it near there. Size this down a little bit. We're going to place it somewhere about there. Drag this up just a little bit. Grab your direct selection tool by selecting A on your keyboard and select both of these top pieces. And we're just going to round this off. Pull those little circles in. Just do that again. Grab these two little circles. You can see those two little circles by hitting A on your keyboard using the direct selection tool, not the selection tool, the direct selection tool. Selecting both of those circles and then dragging them in all the way, and that way it'll give you a perfect rounded off circle. We're going to leave it something like that, and we're going to grab this inker. I think we're going to round this off some, and then we're going to do the same thing to this side, round it off some. Not a ton, but just, you know, a little bit. Hit V on your keyboard again to grab your selection tool. Right click on the objects that you have just selected and hit Group. Go up here to Effect, 3D, Extrude, and Bevel. And we're going to go to something kind of like so, probably. If you want to copy down these angles, feel free. We're going to just use a diffuse shading, nothing fancy. We're going to change this color. I don't know why it goes straight to red. We're going to use just like a, we'll use a little bit of a hint of a red here. Why not? But we're going to do gray mostly with a hint of red, maybe right about there. That looks good there. Brighten this up some by taking away some of the ambient light. And we are going to make this a little bit thicker. Let's see what 100 looks like. It's pretty hefty, but I like it. That works for me. Feel free to play around with all of these settings. You may like the plastic shading. That gives you a little more control over the highlights and how that looks. So I'm just going to use that. And I'm actually going to move the light so it's Actually, no, I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to do some custom shading. So stick around for that in just a few minutes. So hit OK. Now go over to Object, Expand Appearance. Now we can, by using our Direct Selection tool, we can click on individual pieces. So we're going to grab this front here. We're going to make this a pretty decent red, probably something like so. We can double click on this and bring this panel up and see if we can grab a red that we like. I like that, that looks good. So now select this piece, hit I on your keyboard, and then grab your eyedropper tool and you can just click on that. Make that quick and easy. Now we're going to use our direct selection tool and click on this inside piece right here. And we're going to hit Control C, Control F. That will paste a piece in the front. And then we're going to go to our gradient tool, go up to white and black. We're going to make the white transparent. So go to 0 for your opacity on the white. And for this case, we can just flip this gradient around and that'll probably bring us pretty close. So if we actually need to change this to black, that may give us a little better look. Sometimes white looks good, but we're going to do black in this case and just make sure that it's still at 0%. And then we're going to do something like so. That looks good because if the light's coming from this way for what we're going to do, then the shadow would be here and there would be less shadow down here. So we're going to do a similar thing what we did on that piece right there. We're going to hit Control C, Control F, and that will paste a piece in front. And then we're going to grab our gradient tool and let's apply a new fresh gradient. Change this to black and change it to 0%. That actually almost works out pretty good. Let's change this down. So it'll probably be something like so, because this is going to be pretty black because this is below all of this. And now what we're going to do to add kind of a highlight to the top of this piece right here is we're going to grab this piece, hit Control C, Control Shift, Control F. And then we're actually going to rotate these so that it's just a stroke. We're going to change the stroke to black. And we're going to go to our properties panel and we're going to up the stroke quite a bit. Probably like 10. And then we're going to click off of there, hit A. We're going to right click and going to go to Object and we're going to expand, fill, and stroke. And then we're going to right click, ungroup these. We still have our direct selection tool selected. Ungroup. So it is ungrouped, but I just realized it's all one piece. So all we have to do is grab our scissors. Grab your scissors, right here. Hit C on your keyboard. We're going to go down here and we are going to So once you've changed your stroke, we're going to grab our scissors and we're going to cut these anchor points right here. And we're actually probably going to grab another anchor point over here if there is one. It does not appear as though there is one. But we're going to grab our direct selection tool and we're going to select that path and we're going to delete that whole path. And then we're going to grab this one and we're going to grab our scissors again and we're going to cut that piece off right there. And then we're going to delete this piece as well. Make sure to hit delete twice. Once you have your path selected, we can go to stroke, change this stroke. We're going to change it to that right there. We're going to change it to this profile. Once you've changed the profile, the stroke profile to this profile right here, we're going to go over to Object and we're going to expand appearance. And now it is a fill, not a stroke. You might want to make sure you have all of your other pieces lined up. for before you do this part, because you can't go back and edit this once you've done this. So now we're going to minimize this. We're going to add a stroke. Oops, we're not adding a stroke. We're adding a gradient to the fill. We're going to change this to white. Let's just go up here and start over. We want that to be white, and then we're going to add a new color. This one's going to be this one. Look at this and see where we're at. So this one doesn't need to be quite so dark. Oops, I accidentally clicked off of the path. So make sure you have your direct selection tool so you can click directly on this ridge piece here. I'll bring this down some so it's a little more red. That looks good. That gives it that nice little edge. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab your pen tool. We're going to click over here. So let's see. We're going to hit A on your keyboard, click on this piece, hit Control 2 so that locks that layer so it's not in the way. Now we're going to go back to our pen tool. We're going to click somewhere down here. Click somewhere way over here. We're going to create a great path that looks something like so. This doesn't matter because we're going to delete all of this in just a second. So now grab your direct selection tool, hit Shift and click on this main front piece. Now hit Shift M and that selects your shape builder tool again. Now hit Alt and click on that piece, the exterior piece there. So now go over to your gradient. We're going to grab just this white and black one. Change this to black again and 0. Nope, I lied. We want this to be white and we want this to be white. Oops, we want this one to be white as well. So change this side to white as well. Whoops. Hold on, go back. I forgot. So click off of that piece and now hit A to grab your direct selection tool and click on this piece. Go over to your gradient, select a new gradient. We want this side to be white as well. And we're going to change this to probably like 30% and then change this one to 0. Now change the gradient so it's coming from the same side as this shiny piece here. So now hit Control Alt 2 and that will unlock everything. We're just going to bring this piece all the way to the front. Oops. So make sure you grab your direct selection tool when you're grabbing this edge piece and hitting Control right bracket, bring this piece all the way to the front. So that actually looks pretty good. I like it. So we can click on this piece and change the gradient up if we want to be more something like so. Something like that. That looks good. And then we're going to do the same thing over here on this piece. I'm not going to add this ridge piece, but we are going to add the reflection. So hit P on your keyboard, and then we're going to click here, click across here somewhere, click something like that, and click all the way around. Hit A on your keyboard, hit Shift, click on this other piece, Shift M for your shape builder tool, delete that piece, and now we're going to add, grab your direct selection tool, grab this piece right here again, and then we're going to add this gradient, and then just change the gradient so that it has your desired preferred look. We're going to do something like so. Click off of there, bring that back up. And now it wouldn't be complete without a background. So grab your rectangle tool by hitting M on your keyboard, or you can just click on the rectangle tool. Click over here in this corner, drag this down to this corner. Guess we should just grab a regular color. So now clicking on this, hitting Control Shift left bracket, that will send that all the way to the back. And I don't want quite a color quite like this, so we're going to open this up We're going to make this a little darker. We're going to make this a preview. Get rid of some saturation. Do something like so. That looks really nice, I think. Hit Control 2, just lock that. One last thing, what I should have done for this piece right here was that when we created the stroke, if we change the stroke so that it's on the inside, that way there wouldn't have been this overflow right here. So when you create this, you can change the stroke so it's on the inside. That way it doesn't overflow quite as much if that's something that bothers you. But just that little piece of information. But that's it.
That concludes today's video. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know in the comments if you did. And if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button. And if you want more content like this, make sure to click on one of the links on the side. Thank you for joining me. God bless. Stay safe and click the like button. We will see you in the next one.